How's it going, everyone? Greg Peck here, and today we're going to talk about Bootstrap tables. So, tables don't sound super fun, but let's be honest, if you're ever going to do any web development, at one point or another, you are going to deal with a table. So today I'm going to go over some options and some tools that are available to you through Bootstrap table and the extensions that are provided for you. So just this page right here, this is the Bootstrap table main page. It has some great documentation if you want to go through it. Up over here, I've got the extensions table or page open. So we can see all the extensions that are available to you with the Bootstrap table. You can go through these if you want. We are going to live demo a couple of these today to just see how they work and see what kind of tools are available to you. So let's go back here and come to this wonderful, wonderful website. So Bootstrap tables, right? So first off, when we're looking at a page, we've got a table, and we need to load it with some data. So what we've done is I've linked up an AJAX request to this table, and I'm going to hit load right here. And I'm going to load it with some of the best data you could ever think of, and that's right, Star Wars data. So this is a Star Wars list of all the characters that are coming back through an API that if any of you guys took Miss Survey's class last semester, you're probably familiar with. So right here we've got our name, height, hair color, eye color, birth year, gender, and net worth of all the characters. Some of the nice things that we see right here is, let's scroll down a little bit, and we have pagination. This is just for viewing purposes. This makes it a little bit nicer to parse through a lot of data if you want to deal with it. Nice thing about this is that we can also change the amount of data you want to see per page. Really useful, really easy to set up. Then also we've got some sorting up here as well. So if we're going to click the sorter, it's going to sort all the rows on the table according to whatever item that we want to sort by. So pretty powerful. Let's look and see how we're doing that in the code. Let's go down here. Okay, so first things first, let's scroll up to the HTML. Just kind of see what's happening here. So pretty basic, to be honest. We're just declaring our table right in here. We've got two things in here. So we've got this data pagination set to true and data page size to 15. That's for our pagination row count for just that initial load. In here we've got our headers. We're declaring them, and I have this new item called data field. This is what we're going to use to be able to AJAX load in our data. And then I've got this data sortable tag as well, just declared in the headers to allow those table columns to be sorted. Let's scroll down a little bit more and see how this data is actually being brought in. So important stuff right here. So we want to make sure we are importing everything that we need for these specific items. So up here, these are your main Bootstrap imports to be able to pull in styling and just the straight JavaScript to be able to get the table to run. And then we've got a few imports as well, just for our filter control and table export, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. First things first, to get the Bootstrap table to be working, we got to declare it. So we're going to use jQuery right here. So we're going to declare the table variable, and then we're going to declare as a Bootstrap table object. Real quick right here, we've got a nice little feature. So we got this format no matches. We can return a message if no data is found in our call. So pretty nice right there. Now let's see how we're actually going to get that data. So if you saw up earlier, I had that button pressed for the load data linked to a JavaScript function. This was to that draw table function. This is going to go through an AJAX call and get all of my Star Wars data, and then I'm actually going to send it over here to this draw table return. Right? When I actually get that data from the API, really easy. All we're going to do is we're just going to format it into a list of dictionaries. Within the dictionaries, each row, we're just going to assign the key to each of the table header names that we had declared up in the table before, and then just insert the data itself as a value to each of those key pairs. Once we finish loading up that table rows array, we are going to insert that back into the table, the Bootstrap table, with a load function, and then just pass that array. So it works out pretty good. Let's go back and let's just see that again, how it works. So we just press that load button, and Takes a second because the API is a little slow. Voila, we got our Bootstrap table. One nice thing as well that we have here, let's just press this export button and see what happens. So export is actually just going to punch out all of the data that we have into a CSV file. Now, thing about this export, just to remember that it only exports the visible data that you see here. So since we have the page limited to 10 rows, it's only going to show those first 10 rows. So any sort of filters that you have work on this export as well. So pretty awesome there. We've got a nice Excel CSV file with all of our information on it ready to go for any sort of report or anything that you want to download for clients or customers or users. Let's not save that. Okay, let's go on to the next. Now you probably think that's really cool, but let's talk about filters. That's what is really neat about the Bootstrap tables. Now, got a new table here. Now let's load this up and see what happens. Okay, we've got similar data once again, but now I've got these little buttons here, right? Let's check it out. Press that, and that's actually the Bootstrap table is pulling up and checking all of the unique values for this column and then allowing us to select it and then sort or filter by these values. Pretty awesome. So I've got all of the characters with the brown eyes right here. Then I can also go into gender. Let's go male. And we can stack those on top of each other. For some reason that didn't seem to be working, so I'm just going to click away from there for some reason. On top of this, we've got a clear filter search right here. Let's clear that, just go back to base one. Right up in here, we got a search bar. This is pretty awesome because this is a dynamic search. It's going to search any column. So let's search for Luke. Luke Skywalker's right here. Awesome. Now let's search by his last name. Skywalker. Awesome. Look, looks like it pulled up everyone. It's dynamic into all of the fields in here. Let's search by maybe an eye color, blue. And you can see that everyone with any sort of blue in any of the columns is going to pull up into this search function. Awesome. Now let's just clear that. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to bring up that I did forget to talk about in the last section is, so I made this net worth column. It's just a fake made up column, but I wanted to just illustrate a point. So filtering or sorting in JavaScript can be kind of a pain sometimes, and sometimes Bootstrap table doesn't really know what type of data you're getting, and currency can be sort of an issue. So what I did is Bootstrap table actually allows you to link up your own specific sorting algorithm to it. So let me show you how that works. So let's go back up to the table. And I've got it right here where I just assigned the data sorter table to my price sorter. And that is actually just a JavaScript function that I have defined on the page right here. Awesome. So super easy, super convenient. With the filters, let's go back to that and just kind of show you how those were declared. With filters, you are just going to assign this data filter control select on the individual columns that you want to deal with. And then you're going to want to declare it on the table itself. So you have your data filter control is true. You have to declare your search. And then this is for that little trash can to clear all the filters as well. So pretty straightforward, pretty powerful, and really easy to implement. Now let's go on to the next example. So I know you guys think this is probably pretty cool, but you think, hey, Greg, this isn't really worth it. I really just want to see my Star Wars character listed by movie, and boy, do I have a solution for you. So let's pull this in and let's see what happens here. Okay, now if you look and see what's happening here, we're doing a group by. So we're actually grouping by the movie that each of these characters appear in, and I can actually click on these and they're going to collapse the table. So we've got New Hope, Attack of the Clones, Empire Strikes Back. All these characters are showing up in their respective areas according to what movies they're in. Now this is pretty easy to pull off. Let's go back into the code and see how we did it. So In the table itself, we're doing a few things here. So we've got a data group by flag being declared as true, and then a data group by field is film. This is the one that we're actually going to be doing the grouping of rows on. So what I did is on our table header, I actually added in a data field as film and made it hidden. And then group by is just going to handle all of that CSS and everything that manages the grouping for us. Now in our code itself, pretty straightforward. We're just going to add another row or add another attribute and key to the dictionaries that we're passing into the table, and we're just going to pass each unique film in for each character. Now one thing for this, just as a heads up, to get this to work, I did have to make a value of each character and each film for this to work. So you do have to enter in, like at least for Luke, he appeared in several different films. I had to enter in several different values for Luke linked with each film. And then the group by handled all the replication and spit it out in the way that we wanted it formatted. Okay, and then one last thing, let's take a look at it. Now this is wanting to be editable. So let's say super awesome with these tables, right? But we know that some of the data is wrong. So how do we give our users the ability to edit this on the fly? Now this is what Bootstrap Table Editable is for. Now, when we're pulling up the page initially, we see that we've made a few changes. So we have these blue hyperlink buttons in a few different areas. Okay, so when we click on one, so we got dud bolt here. It says he's 94, probably inches high or centimeter. No, inches, I'm guessing, or centimeters. Yeah, I don't know. But what we can do is when we press on it, it gives us this nice little button area up here where we can actually edit that data. So I'm going to go 100. And I'll just click OK, right? So that's going to sit there. Now this is actually being tied up to an AJAX call, a event listener. I'm going to show you how to tag into that event listener and use that to send it into an API call and actually update your database in just a moment. But we're going to go through this real fast. This is just a standard text edit. If you guys want something a little bit cooler, we've got some select buttons here that we can play with. So this actually went through and I have a list of all the different eye colors, and I can choose a few different ones of these, click OK, and voila, they've got those edited. Gender as well works, right? This is a select box. We've got all the different genders that are present within these characters. And then with a date select, this one's pretty neat as well. Just pull it up, and we've got a bunch of different dates we can go through. Go change the year, month, date, and then hit OK. And that's going to update for us on the table. Now let's look at the code and just see what's happening a little bit behind the scenes and how we're going to make this work. Okay, let's go up to the table. Okay, so just right here in the table, we needed to just declare these items as true for data editable on the ones that we wanted to deal with. Then down below in the JavaScript, it's a little bit more technical to get these things to work and line up right. Again, make sure that you are importing all of the extensions that you need to make each of these options work. Now for the JavaScript with the editable, we do have to declare each of the column names within the Bootstrap table declaration. So in here you can see that I've got all of our columns. I've got name, height, hair color, eye color, birthday, etc. Now with each of the editable options, so we've got this editable flag that we declared here and the type of field that we're allowing it to edit. We've got text field just for basic, type checklist, we've got date, and then we've got a select box. Now with these checklist and select boxes, we do have to declare a source. So we declared a source. Right up in here, I just made a list of dictionaries just to be able to fill those and give options to the users. Now when we actually load the tables, we need to edit the data that we're loading in just a little bit to match these values. so that Bootstrap table can link these up with these either select boxes or check boxes. Now one last thing, just wanted to show you. Just when you actually want to capture the data that has been saved, we're just going to use this table on editable save event, and then we've got access to the field itself that was edited and your entire row. So in this area right here, you can determine what field was edited, and you've got access to the entire row. Then you can take that and you can send an AJAX request to your server and update that variable record. Apart from that, that's everything, guys. So there's just a brief introduction into Bootstrap tables. Hopefully this helped you learn a few things. Hopefully give you some tools to be able to help you in the future. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.